who's looking to become the first to win a back-to-back series championship, sits in 4th in the championship point standing. So he'll need pretty much a miracle to catch the 777 of Valerie Limoges. Simon Vincent in the number 91 rounds out the top 5. But there is second in points, Nicolas Barrette, still within striking distance of the car, starts in behind the 777 of Valerie Limoges. But Limoges has won 3 times so far this season, including 1 at the last stop at the Grand Prix de Trois-Rivières. But what a difference the 2 tracks make. You're at a tight, confined circuit at the Grand Prix de Trois-Rivières, and now you really get to spread your wings here at Canadian Tire Motorsport Park.
And of course, Valerie did win one of the 2 races at Trois-Rivières some 3 weeks ago, as we have the benefit of video here in our announce booth. The cars making their way up the Andretti back straightaway. The pace car will head for pit road next time by. And looking at that Andretti straightaway, there were a few damp patches towards the end of the M-Zone Radical Cup Canada Series, but it looks like it is absolutely completely dry. They roll under the Canadian Tire Bridge and into turn number 8, looking for a start next time by in this race that is scheduled to go a grand total of 40 minutes here this morning. We've got one more race before the lunch break. That'll be the Formula Regional Americas Championship, race number 2 of the weekend. For the start of the first of 2 Nissan Sentra Cup races, let's go to Dave Bradley.
Easing their way through turn number 9 and onto turn number 10, you see a tightly packed group, and expect them to stay pretty much this way for most of the first lap as they head onto the front straightaway. A very slow crawl from your pole sitter, the 95 of Daniel Fortin, Simon Vincent in that red and silver number 91 beside. The green flag is up, and we are underway here in the Nissan Sentra Cup at Canadian Tire Motorsport Park.
Into turn number 1, it is the pole sitter, Daniel Fortin, who will grab the lead on the outside as he'll try to tuck in as they head up the hill to turn number 2. Diving in on the inside, we've got a change in the lead of Simon Vincent has grabbed the lead here at the bottom of turn number 2. Limoges moves up into the number 3 spot, so our pole sitter getting shuffled back into second. Limoges has come through to grab third, and then 427 Nicolas Barrette runs in fourth. But it is a freight train of Sentras as they are about to duck under that Chevrolet bridge at turn 4 and head down to the Moss hairpin on the opening lap.
Daniel Fortin took a look on the inside of turn number 4, and now Barrette on the outside of turn 5 will take over third spot. What a daring move around the 777 of Valerie Limoges. So second place in points, now third place on track, and Barrette knows he needs something special this weekend, and he's going to try and just do it himself, not wait for fate to play a role in this championship battle. He's going to try and eke out any position he can. Up at the front, it is a bump draft down the Andretti straightaway. Daniel Fortin tied to the back bumper of the 91 of Simon Vincent into turn number 8. He is going to stay in line. He thought about ducking out, but stays in line, backs off a little bit. The 95 now slides back. And again, that is an indication we do have a problem, and that is off of turn number 5. It is so far just a local caution, but it looks like that car is stricken back there. I can't see who it is.
Might be the number 7 of Jean-Francois Couture as we continue to stay green. No, looks like they've got the full course yellow out here in, or they've got the double yellows, but they have not displayed it, but now they will. Here is the 46 car also ducking onto pit road as Christian Thibault has come on to pit road. So we go to the full course yellow around the racetrack, and the pace car will pick up the field. So under the full course yellow, that car was partly on the racetrack there just beyond turn 5C, and there you see the hood up on the number 46 car of Christian Thibault, who had qualified on the outside of row 8 in the 16th starting position, the Blainville, Quebec driver. And that is the 7 car that's partly off the racetrack, partly on, just beyond turn 5C, just at the start of the climb up that Andretti straightaway.
That's an interesting spot for that car to be off the track as Thibaut makes a quick stop down pit lane and won't lose any more positions because the only driver behind him is the 7 of Jean-Francois Couture as the field lines up single file to go around. This shouldn't be too long of a cleanup. It's just a matter of getting the field in line at pace speed and then getting the emergency cleanup vehicle out towards the 7 car. And is that the 95 who's way back? You can see the red and white. I don't believe it is because he crossed the stripe. Daniel Fortin is sitting in second spot, but we saw a car that looks very similar in paint. Couldn't pick up the number panel on that car at the back of the pack, but there is the emergency crew tending to the stricken number 7 of Jean-Francois Couture. So it must have been contact on the exit of turn number 5 that ends the day for Couture on the start of the back straightaway. So, yeah, the 95 of Daniel Fortin is still there. Alexandre Fortin, the 1 car, is still in there, too. But the other one coming through is towards the tail of the field. And I believe it's a 69 of Luc Baudouin. And he'll slide into his spot as well. I saw that same livery, and I thought for a second, wait a second, did one of the leaders have a problem? They did not.
So we run under a full course yellow here, working lap number 3, Simon Vincent, your race leader. Pole sitter Daniel Fortin in second. Nicolas Barrette, 427. He knows he's got to finish wherever on the racetrack ahead of Valerie Limoges to tighten up that points battle. Valerie currently sitting 4th in the order. Nicolas Mira, 192 in 5th. 6th is the 1 of Alexandre Fortin. Then 191, Matt Mira, 7th. 8th is 63, Frédéric Chaput. 9th is the 99 of Sylvain Houlette. And rounding out your top 10 is the 50 car of Nicolas, the 50 car of Nicolas Levesque. And then, again, that other car that was on pit road was the 46 of Christian Thibaut. He has since gone back out, being scored 19th here at the moment. Jean-Francois Couture, there you can see they've got the flatbed over there. Looks like they've got a tow truck. So it will in all likelihood be another few minutes before they get that car out of there, and we're set to go back to green. The clock continues to run here on the session as we come up to the 6-minute mark.
And we're hoping to get back to green very shortly. This is such a fun series to watch when the drivers at speed, especially here at Canadian Tire Motorsport Park, where they can take advantage of the draft and really get these cars up to full song. Sentra Cup now in its 10th season, and we should mention the first season as a fully international series, making a stop at Lime Rock Park for a couple races earlier on this season. Interesting to note that both of those won by the 191 of Mathieu Miron, who comes into this one 3rd in points. But the Nissan Sentra Cup, not just a stagnant series, looking to grow, looking to become more of an international presence. And it is such a great, unique starting spot for somebody to move into road course racing. The cars aren't terribly expensive comparatively. And again, you have what the driver in front of you has. It's essentially a stock engine, a couple modifications to make handling better. The safety modifications are done at a shop in Saint-Eustache, Quebec. And then you get the car, you put your livery on, and you go racing.
Well, and the other thing, Dave, it's interesting to see the foundation for this series. The old Micra Cup that ran for so many years provided some incredible racing, both here at Canadian Tire Motorsport Park, Calabogie, and of course all of the tracks in Quebec. A lot of those cars that retired from the series because for a number of years they did run both the Sentras and the Micras together in the same race. But with the growth of the Sentra cars and the number of teams and drivers, we've got a solid entry here this weekend. A lot of those Micras are now running in regional racing, both here in Ontario in CASC competition, but also in Quebec in the Super Production Challenge Series in that compact class. So it's great to see that some of those cars are still out there and running on the racetrack. Whatever the problem here is with the 46 of Christian Thibault, he is back on pit road. So they continue to work on that problem. That driver continues to run here in the 19th place position.
And you can see the contact was made on the rear driver's door of the 46. You can see the donut there from a race tire, a flattened fender on the back end of that car as well. But the crew is under the hood, so it might be something mechanical. You keep in mind these cars are front-wheel drive, just like any other Sentra you would see on the road. So if you did make contact with another car with a front wheel, that might have knocked the propulsion system out. The steering geometry might be amiss as well. So a number of different things they could be looking at with the hood up on the 46 of Christian Thibault, currently marked in 19th position. 20 cars took green earlier on today. Again, the 7 of Jean-Francois Couture is the reason for this caution, and the reason the cleanup crew is on the exit of turn number 5 as the hood goes back down for the number 46, and Christian Thibault, who's still on the lead lap. Again, the caution laps don't count here in the Nissan Sentra Cup, so he's still on the lead lap, still potentially with a chance to win this one if he gets his issues sorted.
Field making its way up the Andretti straightaway by the incident there involving the 7 car of Jean-Francois Couture, qualified 11th out here yesterday in the single qualifying session, some 1.6 seconds back of Daniel Fortin, who put it on the pole, but by the slimmest of margins over Simon Vincent. Was 29 one-thousandths of a second between those two drivers. I would think within the next couple of laps, they should have that situation on the Andretti straightaway all squared away, and we'll be set to go back to green with Vincent in car number 91, your leader, Daniel Fortin, the pole sitter, and then Barrett 427, who is where he wants to be, ahead of Valerie Limoges, and they do have that car up on the flatbed. Looked as though he may have tagged the Armco on the right side of the straightaway, because Dave, it looks like some serious damage to the left front of the car. That team's going to have to get a lot of work done to get that car ready for race number 2 here tomorrow.
This is really our first opportunity to see that damage on the 7 of Jean-Francois Couture, and yeah, you can see the left front corner is very bent as far as the front wheel goes, so you're right, we'll have a lot of work to do to get that car fixed and get him back on track. It's obviously done for the day right now, but Simon Vincent in the 91 continues out in front after a great start, navigating the top spot around the 95 of Daniel Fortin. Nicolas Barrett, Valerie Limoges, and Nicolas Miron round out your top 5. And we should mention, if you look back to the spring race here at Canadian Tire Motorsport Park, importantly race number 2 of that weekend, Simon Vincent did step on the podium in the number 91. So he's no stranger to going fast here, and a former rally champion as well. So he knows how to go fast. He just needs to put it all together to sneak a win here today.
And up on our video monitor, we see the damage to that left front. Indeed, they've got some bits and pieces to repair on that left front of that number 7 car of Jean-Francois Couture. And once again, the 46 car of Christian Thibault is back on pit road as they continue to work on the problem. They go under the hood. Lights are still on the pace car, so I would think it'll be the next time around that they should be able to go back to green, but just looking to see where that flatbed and the other service vehicles have gone, we may be able to go as early. Well, it's off the racetrack, so we could be looking at a restart here next time by.
They can get into the lower paddock. The light's still on the pace car into turn number 8, so I think you might be right. I think it's going to be one more lap under caution before we send them back and allow them to grab the wheel in anger here in the Nissan Sentra Cup. But still single file through 9 and on to turn number 10. So just making sure that everybody was clear. I think it was going to be a little bit close to see if that flatbed was able to reach the paddock area. So usually the lights go off on the pace car somewhere down the middle of the Andretti straightaway in the lead up to turn number 8. But this time they stayed on. The car stays single file. And again, we're 13 minutes into this one, so the time continues to tick down here for the Nissan Sentra Cup, and we've only done essentially one lap under green.
And looks like it'll be about 25 minutes remaining once we go back to green. Next time by, the pace car will head for pit road, and then as they come out of turn number 10, looking to get that green flag from the flagger stand to get this one back underway. And again, multiple drivers still mathematically in the hunt for the championship. And as we said, a close battle up front between Valerie Limoges and that 427 of Nicolas Barrette. Barrette and Limoges were going at it for that first lap and a half before the full course yellow. And we expect that those two drivers will be at it again once we go back to green here next time by.
And uniquely, the 427 has those red headlights. So if you're looking for a quick indicator of who is who on the racetrack, Nicolas Barrette in the 427 does have the red headlights. That's the 192 of Nicolas Miron. A similar looking car, but again, you can see those clear headlights. So a couple of these drivers have put different headlight covers on these cars just so you can tell them apart a little bit easier. But going into the last race at the Grand Prix of Trois-Rivières, the 427 of Nicolas Barrette was only 3 points back of Valerie Limoges. And again, we've mentioned already, she finished once at the top step of the podium, winning that race, and then again third on the third step of the podium. Unfortunately for Barrette, he had a third and then a ninth in the second race. So it was a big hole that he dug himself coming into this race here at Canadian Tire Motorsport Park. So now he's got to do what he needs to do and essentially try and win the race, but he also needs some help, and he needs the 777 of Valerie Limoges to run into issues as the lights go off on the pace car this time. So we will go back to green.
One of the other drivers here in the series who's moved up a couple of spots from where she qualified, Marie-Soleil Labelle, started in a microcar a number of years ago, moving up to the Sentra, and right now she's being shown 17th in the rundown as we get set to go back to green.
Difference here, it's going to be a single file restart, so the drivers will try to close up the gap as much as they can to the car in front of them, and they'll likely spread out as soon as they see that green flag, which is just moments away here as they work their way through turn number 10. Again, a very slow pace here in the Nissan Sentra Cup at Canadian Tire Motorsport Park as they head onto the front straightaway, and the revs start to pick up pretty slowly. The green flag waves once again. We're back underway, and as soon as that green waves, you watch this field fan out.
Down under the Michelin Bridge into turn number 1. It is that 91 car of Simone Vincent ahead of Daniel Fortin. They run single file, and now they'll go side by side, diving in on the inside. What's the 95 of Daniel Fortin, looking to grab that number 2 spot, and now here comes Valerie Limoges. Big pack of cars as they go double wide into turn number 3. Limoges right there in 4th as they peel off at turn number 3 and head for 4.
Barrette on the outside of turn number 2, and Limoges tried to follow suit on the inside of turn number 3. The door closed, and she had a big moment, a big wiggle in the 777. Now to the inside of turn 5, she takes a peek, has to follow single file, but now Alexandra Fortin mired in a battle there with the two Miron brothers, Nicolas and Mathieu. They're side by side just behind the 1 as they head down the Andretti straightaway. They'll want to get single file here because side by side will slow you down.
And again, Vincent in car number 91, opening up just a little bit of a gap on that chasing pack. as the Miron brothers go side by side up the Andretti straightaway, drafting very important, and then to take all of that momentum into the top of the S's at turn number 8.
Frederic Chaput has picked his dancing partner, and it's the number 191 of Mathieu Miron. As he follows in behind, you can see a bumper flapping on the 191 now in the back end. All the while, the number 91 of Simon Vincent will lead them onto the front straightaway. And again, completing a lap under green, Sylvain Ouellette in the Omnifab number 99. In the thick of that battle, still cars side by side, 3 rows deep through the middle portion of this field.
Incredible side-by-side racing. That was Eric Chaput, 63, and Sylvain Ouellette going side by side for positions just inside of the top 10. But that is allowing those front-running 2 cars of 91, Simon Vincent, and 427, Nicolas Barrette, to open up a bit of a gap on that chasing pack.
And you can see Valerie Limoges, there is your top 2. So the 427 has caught the number 91 at the front and is very much within striking distance through turn number 5. And then it's a 3-car battle just in behind. Daniel Fortin, Valerie Limoges, and Alexandra Fortin all in there. And Alexandra Fortin manages to steal a spot around the 777 of Valerie Limoges. So points up for grabs. Again, the big picture always in the minds of these drivers. And right now, it's the 427 of Nicolas Barrette who will gain the most points on the 777. But don't count out Valerie Limoges just yet. Side by side with Alexandra Fortin down the straightaway. She may have it going into turn number 8.
Valerie Limoges getting a great drive out of the Moss hairpin, side by side in through turn number 8. Cannot get around that number 1 car of Alexandra Fortin. And then we've got the Miron brothers battling just in back of Valerie Limoges, Matt Miron 191 and Nicolas Miron in car number 192.
Good look there between the 50 of Levesque and the 116 of Eric Chaput. And that is a battle for 10th spot. It looks like they're still at the front of the field. Believe it or not, it's all the way back to 10th. That's how tight this pack is. Now there's a little bit of a gap growing between the top 2 and 3rd place. It's about 3.5 seconds between the back bumper of the 427 of Nicolas Barrette and the front bumper of the 95 of Daniel Fortin.
Well, it's amazing just how much of a gap that Simon Vincent 91 and Nicolas Barrette in car number 427 have been able to open up on the rest of the field. Barrette does have the fastest lap of the race, a minute 43.013. That came on lap number 8. As we look at this battle going on, there's looks like that's part of the bumper of the Miron, the car number 191. Matt Miron losing part of his rear bumper, and that's not going to help the aerodynamics on that car as they work up the Andretti straightaway. There you see down through the chute.
It's off the racing surface. It's out in the grass, and you talk about aerodynamics. It might actually help it because it was acting as a parachute, flap hanging out down the straightaway. Now there's nothing to stop the air from flowing under the car and out very efficiently. So it might actually be a blessing in disguise for the driver of the 191 as he's tucked in behind the BetGRW number 777 of Valerie Limoges. But again, as they battle side by side, they need to really get organized, get single file, and see if they can close the gap on Simon Vincent and Nicolas Barrette. Those 2 drivers down into the 142s as far as lap times go. Everybody else in the mid-143s. So it gives you an idea. When you're by yourself, and Ouellette goes for a big slide in turn number 1, and the 50 of Levesque gets into him on the exit. Into the wall goes the 99 of Sylvain Ouellette. Grass and dirt onto the racetrack, and this will require a caution. Big damage to the Omnifab number 99 of Sylvain Ouellette. I was just talking about how they needed to get organized, get single file, and then they had a dice like this as the 99 got well crossways in turn number 1, and the 50 of Levesque went off into the runoff area, and as he was coming back on, misjudged the gap, caught the back end of the 99, and into the retaining wall between turns 1 and 2 goes the driver of the Omnifab number 99. Still just a local caution, though, So despite that stricken car between turns 1 and 2, it's still just a local caution. We stay under green with Simon Vincent, your race leader. And Ouellette's out.
Yeah, he's out of the race car, but that has taken a real lick. It happened coming out of 1. That car ended up right at the top of the hill under the bridge as we go to the full course yellow as expected.
Yeah, it wasn't going to be too long before they slowed these cars down for a cleanup in turn number, well, the entrance to turn number 2. It's a little bit further down that chute between 1 and 2, but it did all start back in turn number 1. So Simon Vincent will see the full course caution this time around, and Nicolas Barrette, who was happily following suit for the last couple of laps, may want to rethink his strategy at this point. Not expecting a full course caution, was probably holding off until they had that nice gap built up.
And of course, Barrette definitely going for the win out here this morning, and then hoping that there are a few cars between him and the championship leader, Valerie Limoges. And there you see that 99 car park, Sylvain Ouellette, who had been battling there right inside of the top 10.
Look at Ouellette on the wall. He knows the 50 car, and he gives him a point as Nicolas Levesque goes by. And yeah, these drivers wearing their hearts in their sleeve here today at Canadian Tire Motorsport Park. And Ouellette is out. He's okay. It was a pretty big hit on the wall, first in the back end, and it came around and slammed the front end of that Nissan Sentra. But it does give you an idea of the safety aspects built into these cars. Fairly robust and able to take a hit. But it wasn't much of a hit from the 50 car of Nicolas Levesque as he came back on the racetrack. He really just misjudged how far he needed from his front bumper to the back bumper of the 99. He caught it, and into the wall went Sylvain Ouellette.
We worked lap number 11 under the full course yellow. A little over 15 minutes remaining in the allotted 40 minutes for the first of 2 Nissan Sentra Cup races here at Canadian Tire Motorsport Park. 91, Simon Vincent, your race leader, 4:27. Nicolas Barrette with the fastest lap of the race, that minute 42.827. The one of Alexandra Fortin in third, 7:77. Valerie Limoges fourth. Nicolas Miron, 192 fifth. Then it's Matt Miron, 191 in sixth. Danielle Fortin, 95, after starting on the pole, has drifted all the way back into the 7th place position, 8 to 63. Frederic Chaput, 9th is 116, Eric Chaput, and then rounding out the top 10 here on the rundown, they're showing that number 50 of Nicolas Levesque. So Ouellette, 99, out of the running. On pit road is Christian Thibault, and of course the first car out early in this race was that 7 of Jean-Francois Couture. So there's some work to be done on these race cars before the race tomorrow, that in order that we can have the full complement of 20 entries that came here for the weekend. Just updating the run up through the field, picking up one more position was that 27 of Marie-Soleil Labelle. After qualifying 19th yesterday, attrition has moved her up in the running order so far. The time continues to click away. We've got a little over 13 minutes remaining.
Yes, we should be able to get back to green, I believe. They were taking a look at the front end of the number 99 car that was pinned up against the concrete retaining wall in between turns 1 and 2. So they have to sort of move it sideways before loading it up onto the flatbed and getting it off the racing surface. The good news is there's no tire wall that needs to be fixed in that incident. The dirt getting swept off the racetrack at this point, but it's not even in the racing line. But yeah, we're hoping that the cleanup is done quickly enough that we can at least get a couple laps dashed to the finish here in the Nissan Sentra Cup. And you can see it is warm in the cockpits of those cars. They haven't done a ton of laps under green, about 11 at this point now, but you can see some of the front runners, especially with their hands out the window, unlike your Sentra car that you can get at the showroom in a Nissan showroom anywhere across Canada. These ones aren't fitted with air conditioning, so the best bet you have is an open window and a hand to guide some breeze into your cockpit to get you a little bit of fresh air under caution, and that's exactly what these drivers are trying to do, get themselves cooled down. But you can see the cleanup well underway here for the stricken Omnifab number 99 of Sylvain Houlette. But yeah, there's damage, big damage to the back end and the front end of that car.
They're going to try to roll it up onto that flatbed here as quickly as possible. Tip of the announcer's cap to the cleanup crew here at Canadian Tire Motorsport Park. Old school brooms do the job. And again, that contact was initiated just coming out of turn number 1. And Sylvain Houlette tried to keep that car under control. And it looked like it tagged the wall a couple of times before finally coming to rest, almost under that Chevrolet Grand Prix bridge up at the top of turn number 2. So the field winds its way up the Andretti straightaway as we come up now on just a little over 11 minutes remaining. And Dave Bradley, I think you're right. Judging how quickly they can get all those vehicles away from the turn 2 area and get these cars lined up ready to go back to green, we could be looking at a 2 or 3 lap trophy dash for the win here in race number 1. But you know, Barrett knows the championship point standings coming in. He's got to make up that gap on Valerie Limoges, and he has got a real good shot here at the win. But the 91 of Simone Vincent, who qualified ahead of him by the slimmest of margins, as those two drivers were able to open up that gap before we had the incident coming off of turn number 1.
Yeah, and again, we talked about the times that is good news. The number 99 of Sylvain Houlette, that car is already rolling up on the flatbed. So this cleanup should be done fairly shortly. All the brushing and everything else is done. And really, we do have to give some credit to Sylvain Houlette for keeping that car on the wall after he got into it initially and sort of keeping it pinched on that wall, not letting it bounce back across the racetrack, because that could have been a situation where he collected several other vehicles at that speed between turns 1 and 2. Bouncing back across the track would have been a big calamity for sure, but he kept it against the wall. The cleanup's going to be relatively quick and easy as the flatbed is flattening now with the number 99 on board. But yeah, we talked about lap times over the course of this one, and the gap that Simon Vincent and Nicolas Barrette were able to open up. That's because those two drivers have been the quickest of the field by far. 1:42.9 is the best time from Simon Vincent. Best time overall of any of the drivers on track is a 1:42.8 for Nicolas Barrette. Alexandre Fortin, the one, he's been sort of mired in a battle at all times, and his best is a 1:43.4. So that's about 7/10 of a second, 8/10 of a second slower than Nicolas Barrette's fastest time overall. So if you can stay nose to tail, you can open a gap. But if there's only a couple laps left, all bets are off. You know the battle is going to be intense.
That Omnifab car on the flatbed, moving away from turn number 2. We should be set to go back to green here, and I'm going to think maybe 8 minutes is what is going to be on the clock. Interesting to note, Sylvain Houlette in car number 99 had just turned his fastest lap of the race, a minute 43.949, before he was involved in that incident that's taken him out here of race number 1. So if they can get that car repaired and ready to go, he'll be set to go here for race number 2. And they've got quite a bit of work to do on that car. We should be getting set to go back to green maybe as early as next time. Nope, looks like they're going to retrieve the bodywork from the Miron car that came off earlier. So we'll see whether or not we go back to green. No, the lights are still on. So one more lap, and then we should be getting set to roll here with somewhere in the vicinity of about 7 or 8 minutes remaining.
Yeah, I think the flatbed is still coming back from that. Yeah, it's in turn number 5, so it still has a way to go to get to the paddock area. But look at the damage sustained on the number 99 as it comes around this facility. You can see the left front corner is peeled right back almost to the driver's door, and there's big damage on the back end as well. So that is going to require a lengthy fix, and it might equal the end of the weekend for the number 99 team of Sylvain Ouellette. I'm not sure you can get that fixed in the paddock area. I've seen some incredible fixes happen in the past, but that one might be a little bit too much. They might have to take it to a Nissan dealership and see if there's any parts available.
Well, there's a few here in Durham region, open in Bowmanville, Whitby, Oshawa. So we'll see what happens with that number 99 car as the field makes its way down through the bottom of turn number 2. All of those service vehicles should be rolling in here shortly. So we're going to speculate that next time by, we should be able to go back to green with probably closer to 6 minutes. So this is going to be about a 4-lap dash to the checkered flag once that pace car pulls off the racetrack, which could happen as early as next time by.
Just trying to scope from our position here at the track, and it looks like the flatbed has reached that back entrance towards the paddock area. So yeah, headed towards the paddock area now. And so yeah, cleared off the track, and I think you're right. It would be lights off on the pace car, this time down the back straightaway, which will set up a dash to the finish here in the Nissan Sentra Cup. And what has been a very exciting battle so far. And you can see the battle wounds from the close racing. The 191 losing the rear bumper cover. Mathieu Miron losing that about midway through that green flag run. But again, that really doesn't hurt the car. The bumper itself is still there. It's just essentially that plastic bumper cover that you've seen on your street car as well. So they have spares in the paddock area, and they'll get that replaced for the next race. But the lights off on the pace car, the field lining up single file, nose to tail, as we prepare to go back to green.
And again, we'll watch closely here. Nicolas Barrette, 427. Right behind the 91 of Simone Vincent. Those two drivers have certainly had the pace during this full course yellow. The racetrack has improved further. There were maybe a few damp spots out there, but this is the best the track has been since that earlier rain and fog this morning. As we're about to go back to green, there's your pole. The driver who started on the front row, Simone Vincent, as he will bring them through turn number 9, looking for the green flag to fly in the flagger's stand next time by.
Don't count out the 3rd and 4th place drivers. A couple former champions here in the Nissan Sentra Cup. Alexandra Fortin in the 1, the 777 of Valerie Limoges. They could play a factor in this one before it is all said and done. Simon Vincent leads them onto the front straightaway, and once again the green flag waves, and this time a big fan out here on the front straightaway. It's Fortin who got a great jump on the 427 of Nicolas Barrette.
And he will dive in on the inside. Alexandra Fortin has grabbed that second place spot. Alexandra Fortin into that second place position right up alongside with Barrette, 427, and Barrette has been able to retake that number 2 spot. Valerie Limoges getting shuffled back, and on the outside is 192 Nicolas Miron right there. A 5-6 car battle up front.
What a run for the 192 of Nicolas Miron. He got up alongside the 1 of Alexandra Fortin. He had to back out, but he picked up at least 2, maybe 3 spots from the drop of the green on this restart. Keep an eye on the 192. He's got a head of steam here through turn number 5, and he'll try and track down the top 3 here down the back straightaway. Your leader continues to be Simon Vincent, but he's opened a gap now on the 427 of Nicolas Barrette because of the battles in behind. Alexandra Fortin in the 1, sitting in 3rd spot. Then it is the 192 and the 777, Valerie Limoges, sitting in 5th position as they had single file down the back straightaway into turn number 8. A couple drivers start jockeying for position into turn number 8. It's a difficult place to make a pass in these cars because you can maintain so much speed into turn number 8. There's not much braking, not much downshifting.
427 Nicolas Barrette has got a couple of cars between him and the driver that he's chasing for the championship in Valerie Limoges, who is there in fifth, down through the bottom of turn number 1. 427 Nicolas Barrette trying to reel in the leader, Simone Vincent. And I would think that last lap flag might be out as early as next time by.
And you can see Simone Vincent trying to use all of the racetrack to maintain that momentum, to avoid any mistakes and giving up time to the 427 of Nicolas Barrette, who wiggles under braking. He is pushing so hard in second spot to close the gap of the race leader. Alexandre Fortin, who's sitting in the final podium position in the 1 car, does have his hands full with the 192 of Nicolas Miron, who just turned his fastest lap of the race in 4th spot, and he is cranking up the pressure, looking to jump on the bottom step of the podium here in the Nissan Sentra Cup. Once again, it is the 91 of Simon Vincent in top spot, the 427 of Nicolas Barrette, and Alexandre Fortin in the 1-year top 3, single file down the Andretti straightaway.
That front-running 6-pack of Sentras worked the Andretti straightaway. Here is Valerie Limoges trying to get a little bit closer to 192. Nicolas Miron, who is right there and will pull up alongside here. Side-by-side battle into the top of the S's. Coming in on the inside is Fortin. On the outside, Miron. They'll go side-by-side into turn number 9. And Valerie Limoges right behind that pair into 10.
How did they not touch through turn number 9? So close. And now Miron forced off the racetrack on the exit of turn number 10 as Alexandre Fortin caught the curbing on the inside of turn number 10. The 192 went through the grass, hangs onto it, but it's a 4-car battle now for 3rd spot. Valerie Limoges in there. So is Mathieu Miron on the 191, all led by the 1 of Alexandre Fortin. So a slight miscue. Just bounced the 1 car out to the outside of the racetrack, side by side with the 192, and Nicolas Miron did a wonderful job keeping it off the tire wall.
And they are right together here through turn number 3. Great battle for 3rd, 4th, 5th. That final podium spot, and that has allowed the other cars inside of the top 10 to make this a freight train of Sentras down through turn 4.
Boy, it sure is. Simon Vincent and Nicolas Barrette resuming their battle at the front of the field. Vincent with about a 2-car length lead over 2nd place Barrette, but there is a 0-car length lead between 3rd, 4th, 5th, 6th, 7th, 8th, and even 9th and 10th in there as well. It is a long train of race cars for this final step of the podium.
Up that Andretti straightaway, it's a 2-car battle for the lead, but a multi-car battle for that final podium spot as Alexandre Fortin having a real battle here with a pack of other cars in through turn number 8. They stay single file. The 1 of Alexandre Fortin, then 192, Nicolas Miron, and then Valerie Limoges.
Yeah, so at the front still Simon Vincent and Nicolas Barrette. Barrette has managed to close the gap. Checkered flag is out. The win is going to go to the 91 of Simon Vincent, followed by Nicolas Barrette, just less than half a second behind. Alexandre Fortin will maintain that final step on the podium. Valerie Limoges so close to grabbing that away in the 777 as she comes home in 5th, as a matter of fact, behind the 192 of Nicolas Miron, but a 1/10 of a second between Fortin, Miron, and Limoges. That is incredible.
That's the kind of racing we've seen over the years in the Nissan Sentra Cup. They're going to be back out here tomorrow to do it all over again. And Dave Bradley, this will have championship implications as Nicolas Barrette with that 2nd place finish, and with Valerie Limoges coming through in 5th. He is going to tighten up that championship as he takes a big bite into that points lead that Limoges had coming into the weekend.
That was 31 points coming into the weekend, so you're right. This is going to close that gap at the front, and it'll put the focus on tomorrow's race. But what a race once again, and a big congratulations to Simon Vincent in the number 91, picking up the win in the Nissan Sentra Cup as part of the Labor Day sprints. Nicolas Barrette and Alexandre Fortin rounding out the podium in what was a wildly exciting Nissan Sentra Cup. Once again, I'm Dave Bradley from Pat Gonzalez. Thanks very much for joining us and for sticking with us through this Nissan Sentra Cup. A couple of cautions in this one, slowed things down, but boy, when they were going, they put on a show.
Cars making their way back onto pit road after an absolutely thrilling finish. Simone Vincent, car number 91, your winner. Nicolas Barrette, 427 in second. And the one car of Alexandra Fortin won that multi-car battle for the final podium spot over Nicolas Miron and Valerie Limoges. And again, in terms of the championship, Limoges will see her 31-point lead shrink with the results here this morning, with Barrette finishing second here and on the podium. Should be a thrilling second race of the weekend coming up here tomorrow. The Nissan Sentra Cup race will be at 11:25 tomorrow morning. That'll be another 40-minute run, scheduled for 40 minutes, race number 2. We've got one final race this morning before we get into our lunch break. Again, a reminder that in the paddock area, I think there's still about 15 minutes or so remaining in the Trans Am autograph session that started at 11 o'clock. So if you're in the paddock area, for race fans, all of the Trans Am drivers with their autograph session that's going on right now. We've got other autograph sessions coming up at the start of the lunch break. And then we'll have the FR America's autograph session along with the F4 United States Championship drivers. That'll also take place starting during the lunch break as well. John Phippen has joined me here in the booth as we look ahead to the second of our Formula Regional America's Championship races. And we've got the possibility of this championship getting decided over the next 30 minutes here.